Hello and welcome to Basement Fodder, the only show whose host will snatch an action figure out of a crying child's hand in a Walmart aisle. I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And we so would too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Fuck you, Timmy, it's mine!
Hey Timmy, did you see that over there? What yoink?
Woo! I've also been known to, like, Tara talks about this, I like follow a kid around knowing who's going to put it down and then snatch it up.
Like, I wait for that, like, I'll kind of, like, keep an eye on it if he shows it to his parents, and then, like, the moment I start seeing the head go, like, it's going to go down, I'm like, there, just grab the shit out of that damn thing. You're mine!
Oh, yeah. There's no way.
Oh, I know you and Tara have had, like, instances where, like, you grabbed a figure and a kid, like, started freaking out and, like, was basically so like, great. I'm a child, you should give it to me, and the parents were looking at you, and both of you are like, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
What's that, Timmy? Mommy and Daddy won't get you that toy? Ah,
so much fun. As you will no doubtedly guess, we have found... what are they now? What are they called?
Instant buttons. They're like ways to put drops on your show. Yeah. I hope they sound good. Like, we tested a few times to make sure, but
we'll see.
So, use them.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of drops.
It's going to be a lot of these.
That's one of my favorite. Yes, it'll be good.
It's been a long week. It's a real long week.
Been crazy.
But we did get to actually watch the first Smackdown pay-per-view since the brand split last night. Backlash. You know who was sadly absent from Backlash?
And his name is John Cena!
You're going to hear this one so much. Like, it's going to be the one that... Like, oh god, the John, because there's a bunch of different ones, so
know,
like, so there's gonna be so many of them. But that's true, he wasn't there.
He was not there. He is currently off filming, I think, the second season of his of the American Grid, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm excited because I like. I am too.
I really liked that show. I loved it.
It was a lot different than all those other shows and stuff, because usually it's all about like yourself and, you know, like being conniving and shitty and stuff, and it's this one very much is like, if you are the conniving and the shitty one, you're pretty much usually one of the first ones off.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, as a group, you know, you have to be tight. So
yeah,
I'll be excited to see that one.
I will be excited. I'll be quite excited to see that one.
Yeah. So we watched, well, first we watched some of the Cruiserweight tournament.
Cruiserweight Classic
and stuff, yeah. Which that was actually really awesome to finally... what was it, the semifinals? Or like two of the semifinals?
Two of the semifinals, yeah.
So that was really good. But those matches were really good. Though, I mean, of course, it was like one of those, we questioned, like... You know, how many of these guys are actually going to be in the division?
Yeah, and how well will it translate outside of an NXT type crowd? Because that crowd was very much like an NXT crowd, which is a very like indie spot fest sort of purist crowd,
very purist one.
And like, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff does not translate to the general Raw audience, especially because it's Raw.
Yeah, because
they're going to be putting the Cruiserweight guys on Raw.
Yeah, this is interesting because like this division right here is what kind of is helping like TNA and Lucha Underground kind of kick, you know, WWE's ass, is because, you know, a lot of the more like wrestling purist fans missed the high flyers and the cruiserweights. You know, it was something that's been absent from WWE. I mean, you get like guys like Kalisto and, you know, Ray every so often, but it's like, you know, once in a blue moon you'll have a high-flying luchador, and we saw what they did with Ray, that they kind of basically destroyed him. You know, and then Kalisto I think he is on Raw, but I haven't seen anything from him since then.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like, I'm hoping this time they'll do it right and it'll be done well.
I think
they'll give it the respect it deserves.
I think it should have went to SmackDown.
I agree.
Like, you know, it's something that would have done better on there. But I mean, again, with Raw being 3 hours, they got to fill the time. So
yeah, that's very true.
But we'll see how it translates to, like, story, because, like, the Cruiserweight Classic was, like, a very big, heavy spot fest, but we'll see how it works with a storyline to it. That's the other thing. So, but a lot of good matches. And then it went into the pre-show for Backlash. which there was basically a bunch of like blah 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 bullshit.
Shall we break it down match by match as we usually do?
Yeah, there was one match only, and that was Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. It was kind of it just happened right there in the pre-show, and they're like, okay, well, you'll fight now then, type of thing. I don't know. This kind of sucks because like the build-up was like Daniel Bryan talking to Apollo Crews and saying like how talented he is, but he needed to like loosen up. And then like
translation, grow personality.
Yeah, kind of basically. I think that's what Daniel was saying. He's like, you kind of need to loosen up and kind of find where your niche is and stuff. And for some reason, this was a loosen up meant I can dance thing, and then that stopped. And then Baron Corbin basically showed up, and like it was like a shit talking thing to him, and they decided they wanted to do a match. They had the match. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was a standard. It was about 10 minutes, which was a long time for that sort of match, I would say. And like Baron Corbin is okay. He does not impress me. Like, I feel like that's the only thing I can say about the guy. Is like he's just okay. Like size wise, not impressive. Look wise, not impressive.
But like wrestling wise, he's got some good stuff.
He's got interesting moves.
Yeah, I would say he is probably like maybe right now at standings like a low level mid card guy. Mm-hmm. Maybe mid card. But in a match with Apollo though, it looks better because Apollo can do so much, and especially with a big guy, there's a lot of different things they can do, and they did do a lot of fun, power stuff as well as like acrobatic stuff. But the match ended up going to Baron Corbin, which I think is kind of shitty because they had already had a match together, and Baron Corbin won that one, and like so far. Apollo's just been on a heavy losing streak. Yeah. Like, they've basically been just jobbing him out to, like, build up Baron Corbin, which is not going to happen.
No, because, like, a guy continually beating another guy who never wins is not a way to build up a guy. Like, he needs to get wins over, multiple people that normally will win. It's like putting him against Ziggler made no difference either. Yeah. Because Ziggler doesn't fucking win, ever. Yeah. Like,
and that's the thing, is, like... Well, some people could argue, but Apollo's got all this ability. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is he hasn't really been able to showcase it. They've just been jobbing him out, which really sucks because he is super talented. But in the ring, outside the ring, I think he's still trying to figure out... Because, like, his persona in NXT is fine. Mm-hmm. Because NXT... You can just be a guy,
and
about,
like your more skill. About the wrestling and less about the personality. And
but on
shit.
The big show, your personality is almost your skills almost take a second place to your personality.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's some guys are able to get away with it, like Neville. His ability is so so good that he doesn't necessarily have to talk as much or have super much of. Like necessarily a personality. He has one. He has a gimmick, and his skills and that what little bit of that gimmick he has have gotten him, where he's at. But I feel like it's not necessarily working for Apollo, because you had a Neville already.
The problem is like with Apollo is like he's just like this dude who comes out and he's big and buff and he grins all the time, but he
super happy,
super fucking happy, friendly babyface. And he really just does not have a personality. He either needs to like. Darken it up a little bit and like get a little meaner or something maybe and stop fucking grinning like an idiot all the time, or like get a manager to speak or a valet that can speak, something,
or direction, because like really,
or give him some point to his character other than like I'm a happy friendly guy who likes to beat up people, I guess. Like okay,
it is kind of one of those things where you're like, okay, well, what's he going after? Because like right now, it's like it doesn't look like there's a belt he's going. Like I thought they were going to do something for the Intercontinental, and then it just fizzled out. And now he's back to jobbing for fucking Baron Corbin, who means nothing because the most successful thing he ever did was winning that fucking Andre the Giant Battle Royal,
which has meant exactly dick.
Yeah,
which is unfortunately the same thing with Cesaro when he did it.
Yeah,
because they didn't know what the fuck to do with him either. Like if you're gonna have somebody win this thing, like you need to fucking plan.
Yeah. Like, it was a big deal when Big Show won it,
Yeah.
you know, and it meant something because he is the Big Show.
Right.
But when you get, like, you know, Cesaro, who they've basically just shit on hard.
Yeah,
but we'll get into that. So, anyways, that was the one match, and then, so they kick off Backlash. McMahon comes out, Daniel Bryan comes out, you know, they start talking about stuff, and they immediately go into, you know, the first match, which is the 6-pack elimination challenge for the women's champion.
It was Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Naomi, Natalya, and Nikki Bella.
Yeah.
For the inaugural SmackDown Women's Championship. It was 14 minutes and 40 seconds.
Which is good.
Yes.
For what it was, I think everybody got their own little piece of the spotlight, some more than others. I noticed Natalya really didn't have too much of a really big spot.
No.
But that's all right, because she's, you know, has been around for a while, so it's good to kind of help the new people. Alexa Bliss did some cool stuff for being, you know, the youngest, the least experienced, and like the tiniest of them all. She was pretty, like, you know, in your face, was going after everybody, wasn't backing down.
Order of elimination was Alexa Bliss was eliminated by Naomi.
Yeah, that's because Naomi.
She looked good.
Naomi looked really good.
I like Naomi.
I do too. I like that they made her a face.
Yeah,
like
and this like weird Dayglow like
her
seizure-inducing entrance and stuff that she's got.
I love it because it showcases her dance capabilities, and she is a really good dancer.
Dead booty.
And dead booty. Dude.
Have mercy.
Yeah.
She was eliminated by Natalya.
Yeah, which that kind of sucked, but I understood. It made sense.
Natty was eliminated by Nikki.
Which...
whatever.
I don't know. To me, that one kind of, like, story-wise, kind of... I don't know. I felt like Becky needed to knock out Natalya.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of...
I do, too, especially because, like, the thing is between Nikki and Carmella right now, it's nothing to do with Natty.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, since Natty and Becky have a history, it would have made more sense for, you know, Becky to eliminate her.
Yeah. To finally be like, haha, I conquered you.
But I think what it was is they were trying to give each girl an elimination.
Yeah.
And that's just how it worked out.
Yeah. I get it.
Nikki was eliminated by Carmella, which made sense considering their storyline.
But
it was a bullshit pin. But
yeah, this is my only problem with this match is I can't believe...
You just don't like Carmella at all.
I don't like her because I can't believe she can do any of this shit.
Scrawny.
She is very scrawny, and you tried to tell me that she held down Nikki Bella in the most fucking just lazy ass hold ever. Basically, she just put her arms across the thigh and the ass, not even grabbed her trunks, just basically plopped her hands on her and held Nikki Bella down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't Brie Bella. Like, Brie is the tinier of the two. Nikki has been working out with John, you know, beefing up. She's probably, her and Natty are probably the two more bulkier of the women. Yeah. And you're telling me Carmella's scrawny moonwalking ass fucking held her down with, like, nothing?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
And then, of course, Carmella was eliminated by Becky after submitting to the disarmor. When that makes Becky
now that little exchange,
champion.
That exchange was nice though because you got to see Becky go full fucking bore. Carmella had been like beating on her for a while and stuff, and she basically just like went psycho woman and was just like no, and like just started. What was the one move she does where she hikes the one leg up and basically like suplex?
Oh, it's a capture suplex.
Yeah, capture suplex. Yeah. Just repeated capture suplexes, and I mean just with authority, like slamming the shit out of her, and then rolls her up and puts her in the disarmor, and like, you know, takes her out definitively. It was a definitive clean win. She deserved it. She took him out and stuff. I just thought it was crap.
Yeah.
That. You know, how those went out.
It was a good finish, and not only that, but, like, it made sense for her to be the one because she is, to me, like, the most logical choice. Yeah. And then also, like, she was kind of fucked out of the women's title before the split a couple of times.
She's been fucked out of it multiple times. That, I hate to say it, like, that was becoming the shtick, is, like, everyone turns on Becky.
Yeah.
Like, she's the naive patsy, and everybody basically is like, oh, Paige did it, Charlotte did it, Natty did it, It was like everybody fucking turned on her, and all for bullshit reasons, and jumped her and basically screwed her out of getting a title, and she finally got it too. Plus, I mean, if you look at that lineup, the only other person besides Becky that would have honestly deserved it is Natalya. And yes, Nikki Bella had it, was the longest reign, but she just came back. You don't want to put it back on her. No. For that thing. Natty would have been an okay choice too, because Natty's been the longest in there. Yeah. Working her ass off.
Becky just made the most sense. And
but
also, like,
of the new generation,
that's what you need to do when you have a new title like that, is you need to make the win mean something, and they really did a good job of that. Like, they had a post-match interview, and, like,
she was in tears, loving it and shit.
She did, like, a very passionate promo, and it really did work, and it meant something.
Yeah, that was a really good match. Other than the one bullshit, like, physics of the Carmella shit, I think that was a great match.
Yeah. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I actually probably will put it as one of the top matches of the whole pay-per-view.
Then we had the newly heel Usos
and their heel gear,
and versus the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. This was the second chance tag team match from the tournament, because basically what happened is, like, they had the big tag tournament for the Smackdown Tag Championships, and there was American Alpha, which is Gable and Jordan, Breezango, the Usos, the Ascension, Hype Bros, Vaudevillains, the Headbangers, and Heath Slater and Rhino. And that's been the big thing with Heath Slater, like, for weeks now on both shows, like, trying to get a contract, and basically they were like, okay, find yourself a tag team partner, and if you win everything, you'll get a tag team. You get a contract. And then you'd be champion.
Yeah.
And so the American Alpha beat Breezango to move on to the semifinals. Usos beat Ascension. Hype Bros beat Vaudevillains, and then the Heath Slater and Rhino beat the Headbangers. And then the semifinals were Hype Bros versus Heath Slater and Rhino, which of course Heath Slater and Rhino won that one. And then the other semifinal match was American Alpha versus the Usos, which actually American Alpha beat them in 28 seconds.
Which is a beautiful.
Yeah.
Considering the Usos jumped them first. Like, they started off dirty, and in 28 seconds, the American Alphas just decimated them.
Yeah, and then the Usos went full heel, basically.
Full fucking heel.
Just, like, destroyed them.
Yeah, they busted up...
I think it was
Jordan's shoulder, and then they demolished Gable's knee. They said he'll be out for, like, 4 to 6 weeks because of the damage they did. And I know it was storyline, but I feel like the Uso heel turn has produced some of the most glaring overlook of the rules for the sake of story. And I mean, I'm glad that the Usos turned heel. This was full of too many shitty heel teams versus overpowered face teams.
Yeah.
And they needed a heel team that could, stand up to, like, that. And the Usos were the ones. And you know what? It makes sense, because they put them with their cousin, and it killed them.
Yeah.
Like,
this is the Roman Reigns killed our career heel turn, basically. Like, killed all of our babyface momentum, killed all the goodwill and shit, because they forced us to be, in the thing with our cousin, and our cousin is soundly hated by the world.
Yeah.
So they
except
had
for the people in control.
Yeah, they had a second chance match with the Usos and the Hype Bros, and it was actually a really good old school tag team match until like that bullshit you were talking about. Yeah. But like, Zack Ryder's a great babyface in peril. Like, he really just did it. He sold like a motherfucker, and he looked really, really good. And
I think
Mojo,
any match you put fucking Zack Ryder in is going to be a good match.
I agree. And then Mojo is like not all that great, but he's a good like comeback guy.
He's a great, like, he gets
he's
that
like
heat. He gets
like,
that heat. So when like that, when that
face,
fast tag comes in, that you're like, oh shit, and it's Mojo. He comes in and he's a powerhouse. He's got energy and power for days, so he decimates. That's cool. But the problem is, I also feel like he's that little fucking dog that he's so hyper, he's just piddling everywhere on the fucking carpet. And shit, like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
My other problem with this match, their heel turn gear was interesting. it was very like lazy.
Yeah, like okay, so normally
black
they come
and white
out
hip hoppy kind of.
Normally they come out and they have like each one of them has the opposite half of their face painted. Like if you put them together, it would make one.
Yeah,
and then they have like super happy looking gear and shit, like paint bros and all that.
Very
bullshit.
Tribal. And then they do the haka.
Yeah, they do their haka thing, like their fucking traditional Samoan like
none of it.
Thing. None of it. Now they came out and they're all like cocky walking and swagging and shit, and they had
very like hood.
Yeah, very super hood, and they no face paint. And they had like all black gear on, and I think one of them had like darkened his beard and shit.
Yeah, it was very much like
oh well, you're obviously heels now.
Yeah, very much heels. So whatever, that's fine. You know that's cool.
I had a problem with that.
I didn't really have a problem with it,
but like I think that the look will probably evolve too. Like,
it will, because it was just we're not going to wear the gear. My only problem with the Uso thing is like, okay, I'll stretch and say, yeah, you got a second chance match after you decimated your opponents, like dirty. It's
kind of lame to get a reward for that.
Yeah, kind of lame to get a reward for that. Then you do the same exact thing in the match to Zack Ryder,
which to me should have been a DQ
in front of the ref.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's little Nate. And he watches them both basically do this thing and destroy Zack Ryder's knee. No disqualification. Nothing at all. When this is the exact reason they're in this match is because they did this move.
Yeah.
You know, it's storyline. Again, this is one of those, the rules just went out the fucking door because this should have been instantaneously like you're disqualified, you fucking dirty cheating bastards. But they won.
Yeah, they won and they moved on to the finals, which would be which happens later. Will happen later in the night, and it was the Usos versus Rhino and Heath Slater,
which I think is hilarious that Rhino was his tag team partner.
We'll get to that in a minute, but our next match was The Miz.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Versus Dolph Ziggler.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
In the no fucks of the century battle. Now, here's what I'll say positively about Miz.
Yeah.
When that shit happened, like basically a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago now, the Talking Smack show that was like the SmackDown post show thing. Miz was on there with Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan basically called him out for wrestling safe and like
being
too
a coward.
safe and being a coward and like wrestling boring and all that shit. And some of it was story, like it was story that subject was going to come up, and then like some of the stuff that Miz said was supposed to be like what he said, but Miz kind of lost his ass. Like he was like, you know what? Fuck you.
Because the thing was, it was not necessarily scripted what Daniel was going to say, and it wasn't scripted necessarily what Miz was going to say in return.
Right.
And I feel like it very much was Daniel really kind of saying, I really do think you are, because Miz actually just had a fucking full month break.
Yeah.
Like a full month break with no title defense. Got to keep his fucking title after a month with not doing anything, which is fucking crap. You know, any other person, like, titles, they've yanked for fucking that shit, or they're basically like, you need to defend it, like, right now or it's coming off. And then usually they transition it off that person.
Yeah. And what, you know what, the thing is, like, Daniel said some shoot stuff, and then Miz just let his shit go. And was like, you know what, fuck you. Like, no, yeah, I wrestle safe or whatever, but I wrestle every fucking week. Like, I wrestle every, you know, however many days. I'm never hurt. You know, I'm out there every time they need a face to go on a show. I'm the fucking guy. Like, I'm out there doing all this shit. I'm making movies, whatever. I'm promoting the fucking business. And what the fuck are you doing? You're sitting there younger than me and you're retired.
Yeah.
Because of the style that you wrestled. And you know what? Both of them have fair points.
That's the thing. You cannot hate on The Miz for what he said, because he was true. Like, if you look at, like, a lot of these guys, how many times was Batista hurt? How many times has Triple H been hurt? How many times is, like, a lot of these big name guys that wrestle all these crazy styles, how many times have they been hurt and had to be out forever? John has been out for multiple times. You know, you look at Miz's career, he's never been injured.
Yeah.
You know, and he wrestles, to me, he is this generation's $1 Million Man, DiBiase, in the sense of, like, he's a more conniving and, like, technical, like, not necessarily, like, super technical, but he's, like, an 80s style technical. Like, he'll wrestle like an 80s heel would wrestle, you know, and that, you know what, that kept his career going. and he could still go do movies and do all this stuff, and he's fine.
Yeah.
You know, so I know they want to say he's a coward and stuff, but he's also like, I can do this till I'm way older.
I feel like the biggest problem with this storyline, though, is that, like, it reminded me of what TNA's problem is.
Yeah.
Is that, like, often they will have a guy that can't work anymore. Or for some reason they can't actually use in the ring. Like, this has happened a bunch of times in TNA. And they'll come up with this really cool storyline that is, like, you know, a fight between this guy and a guy who can wrestle and a guy who can't.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're building up this awesome thing for a match we'll never see.
Yeah, because the match we wanted to see was
exactly.
Daniel Bryan
like,
beat the shit out of the Miz.
Yeah, if they could have done this back when, you know, like, both of them were still active and shit, like, this would have been the greatest fucking, like, this would have actually meant something, and this could have elevated Miz to another level.
Yeah.
But because they couldn't do that, because they waited till now to have that storyline, the storyline is kind of like, because...
It was cool watching it, but it was in that thing where you're like, either this is all it's going to be, or you're not going to get what you really want. And you didn't, because the next night, you know, he comes out again and is saying shit like, you know, like, fuck you, Daniel Bryan, you basically called me a coward and shit. And guess who comes out? Jobber of the century.
King of no fucks, Dolph Ziggler. Like, okay, you know what? That went from, like, interest level of, like, this really intense kind of shit until, like, oh, look, we brought fucking Dolph Ziggler in here. So, obviously, the Miz is gonna win.
Yeah. And the problem is like, they're trying to, like, in their eyes, it's just their eyes, Dolph still has some heat from that, like, when he was, like, you know, losing his shit at Dean and stuff, and getting those promos where he was, like, screaming, and so they're having him scream at the Miz, and the problem again, and then he's starting to question his own, like, if I don't win this, what you know, what's going to be my future in the business and stuff, and I'm like...
The only way that works, though, is if he would have beaten Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Because all Dean kept saying is, you are a loser, and you never win, and then he proved it.
And you know what's funny? All the people, like, what was it, Booker, Lita, Jerry, all of them in the pre-match thing basically said that's the problem. Like, he has the talent, but in his head, you know, as far as, like, that, he, you know, is just something's not there, and it's causing him to, like, lose.
Right, because the storyline logic is that, like, you say, like, oh, he can't win the big match, he can't win the big match, and when the big match comes, he does win. Does that make sense? But if you're like, oh, he can't win the big match, he can't win the big match, and then he fucking doesn't, then he's dead. Yeah. He's dead, buried in a fucking cement poured over top of it.
And then you uncase him from carbonite and bring him back, and they're like, okay, he can't win the semi-big match. He can't win the semi-big match.
And then he fucking can't.
And he can't. And he can't. And you know what? It was bullshit, too, because we all knew how this was going to end. It was going to be a fuck finish because fucking Mrs. Wife, Maurice, came in there, and she fucking maced him.
Yeah.
Like, literally maced the motherfucker and shit. Like,
well, here's another thing. This gets no one over because it doesn't get over the Miz, because if you thought Dolph Ziggler had stink, then you should have let the Miz fucking just straight pin him.
Yeah.
And then that would have made
Showed
sense.
that he wasn't a coward.
Exactly. But instead, you do that or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's just another tainted fucking victory, and he can't win without his wife. And then it gives nothing for Ziggler, because if Ziggler would have won, it would have made sense, and it would have been like, oh, okay, well then Ziggler can fucking win.
The underdog finally won.
Yeah. Then it's the road back up. It's like, okay, I won this, and now I can go win the big match.
Yeah, I got the IC champion.
Like, here's my confidence back or whatever. Yeah. But no, he loses in a shitty way, and he's just another fucking jobber.
Yep.
So you literally took a really cool storyline that you couldn't do the match for, and you stuck another guy in there, and it still got no one over. No one.
Nothing.
The only guy who got a little over from this is Daniel Bryan, and he was every fucking over, and he can't wrestle.
I feel like his wife was the person who got most over for this. Like, she got more match time than, like, either of those motherfuckers. Like, it just
boggles the mind, the thinking that went into this bullshit.
It was a good match, like a good match as far as like a wrestler, it was a good wrestling match. The problem was, as a character, I gave no fucks.
I feel like the guys back there that are writing this shit are sitting there going,
I like turtles, because
they're fucking idiots.
Yeah. And then, so moving on to the next match.
Oh, speaking of the next match.
Yeah. Oh god. Okay, so yeah. if you know, like that, how they like, oh, we need to have a palate cleanser match and shit like that. Like, I needed a good match to cleanse the palate of that shitty match.
Shit. Yeah.
What that apparently took in the writer's mind was, I need to open their mouth and, like Godzilla, just take a shit right down their throat, and that's what we got.
Yeah.
Like, they had built this up between where it was Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and I was really actually kind of excited for this match.
Yes.
I thought this would be a good match.
It had a nice build-up.
It had a good build-up. It had, like, you know, Randy had gotten beat up by Brock. He was still hurt. He was like that wounded thing, like the Predator now becomes the prey. He's wounded and stuff. But that old thing is like, when are they most dangerous? When they're wounded. You know, and then Bray's like, I'm not a man, I'm a god. You can't defeat me. All kinds of shit. They did a lot of really good promo stuff back and forth. And then what do you know? We see fucking Bray slamming Randy Orton's ankle in a fucking door. Yeah. And one ref's there like, stop it, Bray, don't do that. And I'm like, what the fuck is
that
this?
That was hilarious,
That was fucking stupid.
Well,
so,
it's just like, okay, if you were like into the build-up of this match and this is why you were watching the show... like, seriously, that's like, okay, they're lucky this isn't the time where you were paying like $50 to watch a show. Because I'd have lost my fucking mind.
I'd have lost my goddamn mind.
This really was one of the matches I was looking forward to seeing the most.
Yeah. Because Bray has lost a lot of weight. Bray has gotten into a really good fighting shape. He's like starting to really hone and perfect the look and the character. He's dropped the Wyatt family gimmick. Orton has really started getting into the, like, they started playing this like psychological, like, are the scars, you know, real? Are they just psychological? Like, what is it and stuff? And he really started getting this, like, Randy's starting to be like, you really want to see the scars, you want to see what the voices really tell me to do type shit. And it was good. I was really excited for this. And they fucking, Bray comes out and they hand this fucking note to the announcer guy, and he was like, oh, the doctor, you know, due to the Bray attacking him, the doctors won't clear Randy Orton to fight. So basically, they did a fucking count out, and Bray won the match due to a forfeit. But then they hand him another fucking piece of paper, and they're like, but Bray will have to fight somebody in a no holds barred match. And they bring out fucking Kane.
Go!
Who cares? 2016.
Yeah.
Almost 2017. Do you think there's anybody else that gives a shit about Kane anymore? Kane doesn't give a shit about Kane in 2016. Seriously. Who could fucking possibly care? Oh, and again, here's another situation of, who does this help?
No one.
Oh, Bray beat Kane. What do you fucking do? So does everybody.
Yeah.
And if Kane wins, again, who gives a shit? It's fucking Kane.
Yeah. And this sucks because it's like, Kane is like a fucking minuscule fraction of what he used to be. He is not intimidating. Like, you see Kane come out, like, you used to be like, oh shit, it's Kane. He used to clear an entire fucking ring. Now it's like, one-on-one, I'd be like, I'll stay in the ring and wrestle Kane. I think I can do it. I can kick his pudgy ass. Like, he's not the Kane of old, where it was like, you know, the mask had never been taken off. He was fucking a lean, mean, just red ass-kicking machine. You know, fucking brick shithouse. Now you have tubby front hair, front hair wig, you know, thing. It's just like, he's not. It's not scary. It was just bullshit. And I knew what was going to happen. I knew there was going to be a spot where Randy Orton comes out and hits him with an RKO.
Yes.
It's going to happen. And it happened. Randy hobbled his ass out there. At least he sold the fact that his ankle was fucked up. He didn't just, like, run out there and, oh, gotcha. You know, he sold that, slow walked out to the ring, busted the RKO on him. Yeah. Kane got the win, you know, and fucking Bray's fucking sitting there drooling in his fake dreads and shit. And the problem, like, it
accomplishes
nothing because it's like, you don't get to see the awesome match. All this build up to Bray being the next monster and stuff is gone because you let him get beat by the tubby one, you know. And fucking Kane doesn't need this shit.
Nope. It is literally another. This is like the show of you've accomplished nothing. No one gets over. Fuck you, fans.
I'd rather them fucking bring out Corporate Kane.
Yeah.
I'm more to the point now, I would rather see Corporate Kane.
Yeah, because at this point it's an insult to see him in the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want SmackDown to be like the brand of no one gets over and everybody's just in the same, like Raw has always been. Yeah. Like, I was hoping when they did this brand split that they would legitimately try to do different things. And I think in some respects there's glimmers of that.
Yeah, it's just...
But not enough.
The problem is it's still the same writers and it's still the same decision-making stuff,
So, yeah. And then we had the finals of the tag team tournament, the Usos versus Heath Slater and Rhino. I want to talk about Heath Slater and Rhino. This is like the greatest team ever.
Yeah.
This whole storyline's been hilarious. Like, I actually think that this is what gives me hope, because they actually have kind of come up with a cool way of getting Heath Slater over.
Yeah. Like, he's really over. Like, there was a whole hashtag movement to get, like, Heath fucking a contract and shit. Like,
well, it all started with the draft, and he didn't get drafted by either brand.
Yeah.
And then he started showing up every week on Raw and SmackDown doing wacky shit, trying to get
I'm the hottest free agent.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye! One man band, baby! Like, they brought the one man band music back, and fucking... God, that music. Yeah. But, I mean, it was fucking hilarious. And he is funny.
He is. And, he's talented, too.
Yeah, he's super talented. And... it was basically like he kept trying to get a fucking contract from one of the shows, and basically he just got squash matched every time. Yeah. Like, somebody, like, first he shows up and, what was it? I think it was with his buddy Jinder
Mahal. They gave Jinder a contract.
They were basically like, what was it? It was Mick. Mick was like, I will give a contract to whoever, like, beats the shit out of the other one and wins. And, like, of course,
he's like, oh man, we're buddies, we're tight.
We're not gonna do that. Jinder's behind him, like, grabbing the ref, like, all right, go. And it just jumps the shit out of him and beats the crap out of him.
Which is been not too great for him, because he's just jobbed every time I've seen him, like, horribly.
Jinder? Yeah, they brought back him to job. It's whatever.
Yeah, he's a good jobber.
Then there was on SmackDown where he got obliterated by Rhino, like gored and shit, which was fucking hilarious. Then he went back on Raw and got obliterated by Brock.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, like, Brock beat the crap out of him because he was talking about, like, his family and shit, and Brock's like, I don't give a fuck about your family, and just, like, shut up and just beat the crap out of him, and that was hilarious. Then he showed back up on SmackDown, and they gave him a match, and they were like, if you win the match, we'll give you a contract. And he won the match.
Yeah.
But he was so fucking out of it because it was the Tuesday right after he got the shit beat out of him by Brock.
Yeah.
And whoever it was, like, beat the shit out. Oh, I think it was Randy. Wasn't it Randy?
It was
Randy.
Orton, yeah.
It was Orton and just beat the shit
Bray
out
Wyatt,
of him.
like, fucked Randy, and, like, that's how he got the win. But he was so out of it that he didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, and he was calling, like, Shane, Stephanie, and fucking, like, called Daniel Bryan, Mick Foley, and stuff, because he thought it was still Monday. And, like, they end up taking the contract back away from him and shit. And I was like, come on.
That's cheap.
And then they end up... So they do the thing where they're showcasing the new belts, and they were talking about, like, the tag team tournament and the six-pack challenge. And he comes out, and he was like, come on, I'm the hottest free agent. Like... I could get one of these belts, and they're like, I don't think you're equipped for the women's belt. And he's like, well, I wasn't talking about that one. And then Shane's like, I don't think you're equipped to get the fucking tag. Like, you don't have a partner and shit. And he's like, I could get a partner. I could go back there, and get anybody would want to be my partner and stuff. And Shane's like, all right, go back there, get a tag team partner.
Yeah.
We'll find somebody for you to wrestle. And if you can win this whole fucking tournament in the titles, I'll give you a contract.
Yeah, and it was funny because he goes back there and he just gets turned down by, like, everybody.
Everybody is like, no, like, everyone. And it's like literally the last section of SmackDown, and finally Rhino, like, agrees to it.
Yeah,
like, I think was like he asked. Like I think he reluctantly asked Rhino because he expected.
No, Rhino actually came up to him and was like, "I'll be your partner." And he was like, what?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was just like, what the shit?
He's like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. And then this, like, was the best decision that could ever been made.
It was so great.
It was so good. And you know who they get to fucking wrestle them? The headbangers. They bring back the headbangers.
The headbangers look about exactly the same as they did.
They
really sucked equally to when they sucked before.
It was
a 3-minute match.
It was a 3-minute match.
It was fun, nostalgia.
It was fun and stuff. And then they've been cutting these like vignettes and promos and stuff about fucking like him and his family and shit.
Yeah,
and like
supposedly has like 7 children.
Yeah,
and this like dumpy wife and shit, and like a little bit of trailer.
And Rhino was there. Like Renee was doing an interview there, and they were like had like crackers with spray cheese, and Rhino's just eating it. Like, yeah, I enjoy. Like it was too good. It was literally one of the best things ever, and the fans really liked it. They really got behind it, and were very much like, give Heath Slater a fucking chance. And they beat the Headbangers, and then they went on to beat the Hype Bros.
Yeah, I think it was the Hype Bros.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they beat the Hype Bros.
Hype Bros.
And then the Hype Bros and Usos went back, and then it was Rhino and Usos, dickbag Usos, in the finals. And this was actually a good match. This was a really good match. Usos do a good job of playing believable heels, and they really made you want to root for Heath. Like Heath and Rhino.
Heath basically spent the entire match like Zack Ryder, like babyface in peril, like got the shit beat out of him and stuff. But he was coming back in a nice way, and then he finally get to come back, and Rhino like came in and just destroyed. And I thought there was going to be a fuck finish because it looked like there was about to be a fuck finish, but then Rhino gored the shit out of one of the Usos.
Well, that was cool because like they had tagged. Like, it was Rhino came in, he was getting ready to do some shit. It didn't happen. Somehow he got knocked out of the ring. Heath came back in and literally just was like, you could tell, he was like, I am not going to lose for my family, and just literally starts just, what was it? What was he fucking hitting him with?
He had like cutters on him.
Cutters, and was just like, just dropped both the Usos and was like throwing some fucking just some heat at him, like was beating the crap out of him. And then, like you said, it looked like it was about to be a fuck finish, and then out of nowhere, Rhino just fucking comes in and gores the shit out of one of them, and fucking
and Slater got the pin.
Got the pin, and they won and shit, and it was fucking hilarious.
We popped hard for it, like that and the women's match. Like we both popped pretty hard on.
I think those were the two best ones as far as like what they had built it from the beginning up to the finale. Like it was a strong go from start to finish, except for like the bullshit with the Usos and the like blatant disqualifying. But other than that, I thought it was fucking great because I kind of questioned, would they actually do it? Would they make their first tag team champions Rhino and Heath Slater? Yeah, especially because what's going on outside of wrestling with Rhino, Yeah,
because he's running for office,
Yeah. So, I don't know, but they did, and I think it's awesome. Like, I don't know how long it's going to last, but I think it was great. From a start to finish storyline, I think it was beautiful. I think they did a great job with it.
Like, what was great is, like, it worked, and then they needed to win. Yeah. And they did. And I was like, good, hey, congratulations, you actually do know how to get people over. I think it pisses me off more that you don't. Yeah. Like, you fucking obviously do know how to get people over.
Yeah, because you did it for Becky, you did it for fucking Heath and Rhino, but like, I hate to say it, but this to me was like Dolph Ziggler's last chance at like trying to get back to that road.
That's the thing, like, Dolph Ziggler to me has had like 400 last chances for me to give a fuck, and every time, no fucks.
Yeah, and they always fuck him over. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. And I felt like this was kind of like one of those, like, hey guys, like, if you're, especially because there was a belt on the line, and there was so much bullshit with the Daniel Bryan, I'm like, I feel like in the story-wise, you basically just said Daniel Bryan lost. Like, got, punked out because he had fucking Ziggler fighting in his corner.
I feel like the only thing that you could do to save Dolph Ziggler at this point
turn him heel.
Well, to take him off TV for a good long while and let him, not be in there where people are seeing him all the time, and then change his gimmick.
I think he needs to come back as a fucking hardcore,
Yeah.
bitter fucking heel.
Yeah. Do like they did with Brett and shit, when Brett was like, I'm getting fucked over all the time and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of what's happening with Ziggler. He's like, I'm getting fucked over. You need to make him that heel. And say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm tired of this shit. You want to fucking, keep fucking me over, then I'm going to murder people. I'm just going to fucking come out there and just rip people to shreds.
He's got the skills to do it, and we know what he looks like when he's an asshole bad guy. Yeah. He does really good at it. He's a super believable
He does to some extent. Here's the thing that pisses me off about Ziggler when he's a heel. He wrestles exactly the same way.
Oh, yeah.
You can't.
No.
You cannot wrestle, especially his style, because he's like a super high, fast, flying fucker, and you can't be that as a heel. You have to work a little slower. You have to be a little more methodical, and you have to not worry about popping the crowd.
No.
Watch AJ work as a heel, because AJ's a high-flying guy, too, and he still does high-flying moves.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do them, for the crowd.
Yeah.
He has purpose behind each move. And this is the problem with Ziggler. It's spot, ping, 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 ricochet, dildo.
And that's the thing, I feel like he could do it. Like, they've started giving him finishers for guys who could do it. Like, you could bust a sweet chin music or a famouser, out and in a heelish way, and it's fine and stuff. I really hate the fact that they basically gave up on his finisher, the zigzag and stuff. And basically he just started acquiring other people's finishers like Seth Rollins. But I mean, those are perfect heel finishers. Like, I'm more memorable heel victories of Shawn with a sweet chin music than I do necessarily him with a baby face. Yeah. I always remember Billy Gunn being the asshole bad guy, with a famouser, than necessarily being a baby face with it, Those are more just snap moves out of nowhere that's just like, haha, fuck you, He has fought as a heel before and been at a slower pace and stuff because, he was one of the cheerleader guys, and he was, when he first started, he had to kind of do the pop moves even as a heel just to kind of get noticed. Yeah. And that makes sense, but it's like now I feel like he doesn't have to do that. No. He's called the show off. We know what he can do. Yeah. Oh, let me see.
What's going to make you a heel when people know you can do that shit and you won't do it?
Which is...
You'll go up and be like, no, fuck you. I'm not doing
which
that
is
shit.
Why Miz actually works, because Miz can do that stuff, but he doesn't. Yeah. So
that was what it was. It was a good tag team match.
Yeah.
And then we had the main event of the night, which I was like, man, looking at what time it was, I was like, man, it seems like they're starting this main event awfully early.
Yeah.
Because it was like maybe
10
or something when it started, and I was like, this show's supposed to go to 11. Are they seriously going to do an hour of fucking AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose? Like, I just don't see it.
I can't.
And it didn't. It was 25 minutes.
Yeah. I can't see Dean's style going.
Here's what I'm going to say about this match. I love the outcome.
Yeah.
The end of it was really good. The ending sequences were very good.
I like the progression. I like how they took what AJ had done with John and rolled it right into this. Yes. Like, kept it going and kept that mentality going and was like, I got my one trophy. I'm coming for the next and stuff. AJ's part in this was flawless. I feel like it was good. He cut good promos. Yes. He did everything he needed to do. He played the perfect heel for this and went into the match. Played great in the match. The only problem with this was
Dean Ambrose. And this makes me sad because I used to like Dean. I did too.
And
I was really happy. We both were. When he won the title, we were like, fuck yeah, man, let's do it.
But I think this is that problem is like now Dean is where Kevin Owens was when we didn't like him. He's become complacent. Like, he has this attitude now that Kevin Owens has.
That he needs to be like Steve Austin or something because
we
Austin
talked about
is like buddies with him and shit. And
we talked about this. It's like
on him.
They took the craziness of Pillman and that like asshole, I don't give a fuck, Stone Cold nature, and like fused it into one thing. And I'm like, not that period of time anymore.
No, well, that and the fact that Dean to me worked better that when he is like the crazy kind of underdog guy.
Yeah.
That you really want to win, but he doesn't necessarily always win, but he wins enough like for it to make sense and you to keep giving a shit. But like he is solidly a good guy.
Yeah.
And like when you make him kind of this weird tweener, like all of his dick qualities just make him not a tweener and more like just a guy I don't give a shit about.
Yeah. Like, he starts coming out with this fucking, like, weird swagger and,
making
like...
faces and, like, sucking on a toothpick and shit. Like, dude, nobody cares.
I'm the man and, you know, doing kinds of weird shit. And I was just like...
Well, when it boils down to it, you look like a fucking cooked chicken. Like, you're not a tough guy. I'm sorry, dude. You got fucking, like... You're trying, like, desperately to hide balding with a shitty fucking haircut.
I thought he looked more crazy and more of a badass... when he was in the Shield, when his hair was like slicked back and shit like that. You could see the crazy eye.
It's like you're trying to hide your giant forehead. Hey man, I got giant forehead, I understand.
Yeah.
But you're trying to hide it with this stupid like I've never combed my hair look or whatever, and he looks like a fucking homeless person.
Him and Harper needed to wash their clothes.
And fucking like he always looked like his clothes had never been washed before, and like he's wearing his leather jacket and shit, and he takes off the leather jacket and like his wrestling gear is jeans and a fucking wife beater, and he seriously
taped
looks
up wrists. Yeah.
He seriously looks like he weighs like $110 soaking wet. Like, he is not intimidating.
Yeah.
You have to kind of, like, Austin, okay, being a cocky kind of tweener guy worked better for Austin, too, because Austin was a big dude. He was intimidating. He was an intimidating guy. He had muscles. And when he went to the ring, he wrestled in gear. Like, yeah, he wore fucking jeans and, like, shorts and stuff all the time or whatever.
When he threw
he had fucking gear on in a match.
When he threw a stunner on you in a promo, in his fucking shorts... Yeah. You know, he still had his knee braces on. He still had the fucking boots and shit. Yeah, he was wearing like a fucking John Deere Budweiser cap or some shit like that. Whatever. Didn't matter. You know, when it came time to wrestle, he fucking was like, I'm a wrestler.
Even as much as I dislike Roman's gear, it's
gear.
Still gear.
Yeah.
Like, he literally has no gear.
Yeah.
Nothing.
There's a difference. He'll come out, he'll still have the pants on and stuff, but he'll have a shirt on. But then when it comes wrestling time...
He's got that chest protector.
He's got the chest protector, which apparently there's a petition to get that taken away from him. Because they're like, it's illegal gear. And I was like, it's not like D'Lo Brown's, which actually had fucking shit in it. Roman's is literally just foam padded.
Yeah.
But...
It's
you
just
know,
like,
same with Seth. Seth has gear.
He has gear.
You know?
And Dean just looks like some random hobo that walked off the fucking street with a belt that he bought at the fucking concession stand.
This murder hobo is coming to fight me now.
He looks like some fucking like dipshit fan out of the stands or something. You know what he looks like? You know what? I tell you what he looks like. He looks like what he started off as a fucking backyard wrestler. He looks like some scrawny ass backyard wrestler.
Dean would have been fitting and perfect when they had the hardcore championship belt. Like that would have made so much sense on him. Like it would have been perfect. I like Dean. I liked the underdog factor of Dean, and you know the like never say quit factor of Dean. But like, it's not there anymore. Like Dean's repertoire is only as big as the match he's in. If it's a normal match, he has a very John Cena early 2000 limited range.
I would say
stuff.
Worse.
Kind of worse. Yeah, it's kind of worse. But if he's in a match where there's like crazier stipulations, you'll get more out of him. You know, those crazy cage matches or smash through a windshield matches or some dumb shit like that. You get a whole variety of new stuff out of Dean. But if it's just a regular wrestling match, I know I'm going to see that stupid through the middle rope thing.
Okay, that needs to stop. Okay, I'm sorry. That is the most unrealistic move in the history of wrestling.
No, the one other one that pisses me off that he does too is I'm going to see that run towards the corner, put my foot up on the second turnbuckle and do this little twist push off to generate momentum.
When you're going really slowly.
Yeah, when you're going really slowly. And
that's the problem with both of those moves. Is like if you're going to do that like dippity-doo fucking like lariat that he does or whatever, it's got to look like you actually are building up speed. Yeah. And he has the same speed when he hits it as when he bounces off the fucking ropes. Like, it's like, okay, if you're supposed to be gaining momentum and it's supposed to be more powerful because of that, you've gained nothing because it's, okay, like, to me, it should only ever happen if a guy whips you into the ropes hard and you dip down, but he doesn't he initiates the fucking move himself and it just looks ridiculous. It looks like you fucked up and missed a rope. Yeah. Like... Yeah. And it's seriously, like, the level of ferocity behind this clothesline couldn't cut a wet fart. Like, I'm sorry. It literally, this is one of the few times I would say that putting a belt on a guy kind of killed him.
Yeah.
He's a transitional champion.
Yeah.
I hate to say that about the guy because I think he's a talented dude. I think in the best circumstances,
he was good when he had a belt when he was in the Shield. Like, when he was, what was it, the U.S.? he was a good U.S. champion.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It was like his style versus like AJ's style is an interesting mix because AJ's is very like he's a mat technician.
Yeah.
He knows everything. He's a high flyer. He's a striker, a grappler. He can do it all. Dean is a how much punishment can we put this motherfucker through?
Yes.
And his crazy ass still come out of it.
He's like Jeff Hardy without all the cool spots.
Yeah.
He's like that Jeff Hardy ragdoll, like get the shit beat out of me guy, but he doesn't have all those cool shit that Jeff can do, but he's nuts.
He's nuts.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, being nuts worked for Mick Foley and shit because he was kind of a bigger dude and, like, he was intimidating in some respect, and he was legit crazy when do weird shit. Dean is
We're not
like
in the age of that anymore.
Teensky Tynsky.
Yeah.
He does scary shit, but not enough to be like, oh my god, that guy's legit nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, like he's a guy who does extreme moves. Like
that fucking, what is it, the suicide dive out of the middle rope and stuff where he basically just puts his arms on like your shoulder or your face and kind of like tries to push you into the thing. That one kind of annoys the crap out of me because I'm like, what does that actually do?
The believability factor is the big problem with him. Like, he does, his moveset is for a guy twice his size.
Yeah.
It doesn't work when you're $120 soaking wet.
And
you look like a cooked chicken.
The other problem, too, is like when you put him in there with AJ.
Yeah.
AJ is an amazing wrestler who makes either other wrestlers look amazing with him or like shit.
Shit. And not by any fault of his own, but he's just so good.
Yeah.
That, like, he makes you look ridiculous if you can't work with him the right way.
Yeah, I was worried about with him and John Cena, and then those matches.
John Cena a lot of credit. Those matches were great.
Those matches were awesome, and I was like, okay, he made great matches with John. Let's see what he can do with Dean. Mm-hmm. And it just
Nadia Comaneci is what he fucking do with Dean.
Good. But they hit the spots, they do the things, and the winner is, and this was a surprise to me because I honestly thought they weren't going to do this.
I thought it was the only thing that made sense.
It made sense, but did it really?
No,
you didn't think it was going to happen. AJ won, and AJ got him.
What I actually expected
John Cena
was that.
Yeah, it was John Cena to come out and fuck him out of the title because he fucking because he had started now after he beat John, he started saying he was the face that runs the place.
Yes, and like I know it has to be building to Cena coming back and them having another go round or whatever, but like he definitively beat Cena in the end, so like that story needed to end, and it did, and it needs to stay ended for a while. Like if they're gonna, when Cena gets done or whatever, if they want to bring him back and do a feud, it's got to be a couple months down the road where people have like gotten the taste of it out of their mouth,
where he's feuded with some other people,
and he's retained and been strong as a heel champion and stuff like. AJ will be a great heel champion if they book him properly.
Yeah.
And the finish was great. Like the ref got bumped. This is like right the finishing sequence. The ref got bumped. AJ was like, "Oh shit, the ref got bumped. Kick him right in the fucking nuts."
Which is great because the last time they had talked, fucking Dean
kicked him square in the balls.
Dean had fucking run his mouth and said some shit, and fucking AJ was like, "You know what? Fuck this," and just field goal punted
right
him in the balls, like. And basically was like, fuck you, I'm taking your title. And he did. And you know what? Like,
who cares?
Who cares? Normally, I think this would be one of those things where I'm like, it's kind of a fuck finish and stuff. But I'm like, against Dean, it's sense. Not.
Well, it made sense. And then the great thing about the way that he did it is like, he did it to set up the Styles Clash, and I didn't even notice that he kicked him in the nuts at first.
Yeah, you thought
because I thought he kicked him in the gut
for the Styles Clash.
Yeah, because
I was like, no, dude, he nut shot.
It was a good enough. Like a lot of times when they do that, it's a ball shot. It's like way over the top and super
it's the
fucking
underarm,
blatant.
it's the Ric Flair
when they like bicep him in the nuts.
Yeah.
But no, this was just like, oh fuck this, bam, quick kick in the nuts, boom, Styles Clash. I'm the champion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really care because it's not because Dean's not a clean fighter.
No.
So it's not a dirty victory. To me, it's a
it's a heel victory. Yeah. It's like a Ric Flair heel victory. Like how many times did Flair punch some guy in the dick and be like, whatever, figure four, bitch.
You suck and shit. And I'm like, you know what? Had it been in the other way, Dean would have kicked him in the nuts.
Absolutely.
Like, Dean.
Yeah. Do you think that if like Dean was the one who saw the ref, he would have kicked AJ in the nuts? Absolutely would have kicked him in the nuts.
He'd have fucking done some heel shit. Like, you saw what he did to fucking Roman. He was like, "Yeah, we're friends, but I'm still gonna jump the shit out of you."
Yeah,
like,
he didn't give a shit.
You know, so for me, that was a great finish, and it's great because finally, this right here was the pinnacle. This AJ has now shown that he is a dominant force in every ring that he steps into.
Exactly. And you know what? No matter what they do to him after this, it never take that away.
Yeah.
Never take away the fact that he has been champion every fucking place he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, he has meant something and meant a lot.
And not like the upstairs likes you, we're going to make you a champion. Like, the fan base overwhelmingly was like, we want him to be the champion. We want this. He is the guy, you know? And I know they didn't want to, like, originally think that, but it's like, he is.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what you've tried to do, you know, he did it, you know?
Yeah. I'll tell you, it really just, it made sense.
Yeah.
And it worked, and it was like a really good victory, and even though he's a heel, they still popped hard.
Oh god,
we did.
They fucking like the entire crowd went ape shit and stuff.
Yeah, it was just like it worked. It made sense. And then here's a guy who, again, like, he's a good champion. He's gonna be a good champion. Like, people care about this.
Yeah,
and they are gonna care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, it really does. It will work out well.
Yeah,
and all they have to do is just let him keep winning.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, with John not being there, really, who is there to kind of really be too much of a threat?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, they can have him feud with Dean a little bit more, and then there's Randy, but, I mean, to be honest, most of these guys, you know, are kind of... John and Randy have had plenty of spotlight time, you know, they don't need to go after titles. I feel like a next really good feud with him would be with Bray.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be an awesome feud to have somewhere down the line. You know, other than that, I don't really know who else right now is in there to kind of give him the feud other than Dean. I know they're going to do that for a while. I know they're bringing back, Kurt Hawkins?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Like I said, I don't really know who else they could have him. Overall, for the first pay-per-view from SmackDown, I have to say I'm kind of mixed on it. Like, the stuff they did right, they did really right.
Yes.
You know, but the stuff that they fucked up on, it was blaringly obvious. Like, it was bad fuck-ups and shit. Like, so, I don't know. I'm mixed on it.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, the matches that were good, I definitely say watch them, but the matches that sucked, I wouldn't even say watch a YouTube video of it.
God, no.
You know, so
that was pretty much it for the inaugural SmackDown pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Surprise, motherfucker.
It's time for the news desk.
Yeah.
I gotta find a fucking drop of the...
It's
time for Dave for the news desk.
You know, a lot of crazy promos, photos, news stuff. They had talked about it. We'd seen the guy they had cast. We saw him in costume for what his normal was, but we finally got pictures of the Robbie Reese Ghost Rider for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Full flame, full Ghost Rider, the car with the flame wheels and everything like that. As far as a picture goes, it looked good.
Yes.
It looked like the comic. It looked like a lot of good stuff came out of it. A lot of fans liked it. I actually heard a lot of fans are like, man, I like the car better than the motorcycle. Which, you know, I can understand to a degree. We were, you know, we had the motorcycle for a very long time. It was a very definitive look. The car was something different. Now the challenge comes, will it look as good in motion on the show? Like, we'll see, you know.
That's what I think it's probably going to be. It's going to be a lot of...
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how much it does. I want to see too much how much they're also going to use it, though. Like, how much of that is actually going to be used with him in the full flame and everything.
Probably not much.
Not too terribly much. Supergirl photos and a promo video showed up. Yeah. And, okay, the reason why we're all giggity about this is the photos that aired were heavily showcasing Superman.
Oh, yeah.
And through the pictures, we got to see Superman interacting with Jimmy and interacting with his cousin and stuff. But the one that really got me interested was a set of photos with him and Hank Henshaw, a.k.a. Martian Manhunter, and they did not look very friendly with each other. It looked, from what they were saying, it looked like Martian Manhunter and Superman were very at odds with each other. Like, Superman was not happy with Manhunter type of thing, and Manhunter is basically like, you could get fucked, I don't care.
It's because Superman likes to bust up in there.
Like a bout.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and be like, I'm Superman, why didn't you get a hold of me? Like, I run this shit. And like, there's that classic fucking story where GL basically, tells him kind of in so many words to kind of get fucked, like, you're just Superman. Like, a Green Lantern, I was appointed to guard this thing, but then we all the rest of the superheroes on this fucking planet sit here going, oh, what does Superman think? And what are Superman's rules for how to be a superhero? And what does Superman say is allowed and not allowed and shit? When it's like, who dubbed you fucking god of the superheroes on this fucking thing? And this is interesting, too, because the Martian Manhunter they have is a nice amalgamation of classic Manhunter and the New 52 Manhunter. And New 52 Manhunter was not afraid to do some shit. New 52 Manhunter will wipe your fucking mind. I read a few comics where he basically was like, yeah, I went in that building and mind wiped everyone in there. Yeah. Like, he is not a let's fuck around and be like, let's get in touch with our feelings. He's like, let's get in touch with the back of your cerebellum, and I'm just going to wipe that fucking shit out. So, and even in this show, they stated that Martian Manhunter's power levels almost rival that of Superman.
Oh, yeah.
He's fucking, I think they even said that Superman said he's probably one of the most powerful characters on the thing. So, to see them at odds, I'm excited to see that. Now, the promo video they did, which wasn't much. It was just Supergirl walking and then, doing the, like, Man of Steel power-up, fly-off thing. But we noticed something very interesting about this promo video. Like, I caught it, and I brought it to your attention. I was like, back me up. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing here?
There.
And what I'm seeing is, in basic, simple way to say it, is some 1980s fucking, like, shoulder pads looking shit.
They kind of fucking give her shoulder pads.
Yeah, it basically, they widened her out a little bit. Like, in the arms, it looks like they padded up her suit a little bit. Like, you can see some pad stuff. Like, if you guys check it out, look at the promo video. It's the, like, Supergirl coming to the CW stuff. When you see her walking up, it's not that noticeable, but when you see her, like, crouch down, like she's about to just pop off, really take a look at, like, her upper, like, from her elbows up to her shoulders, really look at the costume. It looks like they put fucking 1980s fucking blazer shoulder pads in those things. And it's weird.
It is kind of weird.
I don't really understand the need to do that. Because the Superman costume's not that way.
No.
Tyler Hoechling's fucking isn't padded up.
No.
I don't understand why they felt the need to do it with her. It may just have been the promo.
It could be.
I'll wait till the thing is, but it's very weird.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it myself.
So, next, this was interesting. Flash's dad, Henry Allen, for the Flash movie, the Ezra Miller one, was cast, or at least rumored to be cast, and it's there's another fart one. It's Dr. Manhattan himself, Billy Crudup.
Yeah.
And
not him. He's not a fart.
No.
The movie is a fart.
Yeah. This is interesting because it's like, again, I feel like this is going to be another movie where I think the supporting characters are going to be better for me. Like, you're giving me great actors as the support, and I'm going to be, like, more focused on them and be like, man, Henry Allen is going to be an awesome character. So there was that. there was a lot of talk about Justice League with Jeff Johns taking over control of all of that stuff. There's, a lot of press releases that came out where they were talking about Justice League is literally going to try and be the redemption film as far as, like, this is not going to be the dark and gritty Batman v Superman. This is going to be a very hopeful, very, almost like Justice League Unlimited, animated. Like, this is going to try and inspire that, like, that old school feeling of Justice League. Yeah. And which is going to be really good. Other Justice League news was the talk about Gordon. J.K. Simmons was talking about his part as Gordon, and we just naturally assume, because of how, like, things have gone, that, Gordon and Batman are all chummy, because that's how they always been.
Hey, chum.
But from what he's saying, that's not going to be the case. J.K. Simmons basically said that his Gordon's going to be not only mixing things up with Batman, but the Justice League itself, which, based off what we've seen with Batman v Superman, that Batman, it makes complete sense.
It does.
Because of how he had kind of fallen off the path, and went to this kind of, like, really big sadistic side. It really does make sense. And I think it'll be interesting to kind of see that dynamic, because you only really ever see it at, like, the really beginning of the Batman stuff, like when he's first building that relationship with him.
I am still stuck on the Flash thing, because, like, the only Flash movie I give a shit about is that one.
Flash motherfucking Gordon.
Give a shit about this guy, and it's just I'm sorry, I just don't see it. And I really hated the costume that they showed in Suicide Squad.
The Injustice.
I saw
costume.
that fucking Injustice, like, Go Power Rangers fucking body armor shit, and I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and pass on that. Like, I'll go ahead and be like, no, fuck you, I have zero interest in your movie. I'm sorry, but no, the Gordon thing, like, I get that. Like, with the Batman we've seen, it wouldn't make a hell of a lot of sense for Gordon to be like, oh yeah, buddy, we're chums and shit. Like,
More news of that, casting-wise, is we saw the test film for Deathstroke, like the test footage and stuff. Well, it was rumored back and forth, but it seems like, according to most of the sites, that it's been confirmed that Joe Manganiello, or whatever his fucking name is, has been cast as Deathstroke, which everyone seems like this is big news, but I could have swore years ago they had talked about how they were casting him as Deathstroke, and he was supposed to be in the Suicide Squad movie.
They did, yeah.
And so, like,
it didn't end up happening.
Yeah, it didn't end up happening. But I think this is a great choice.
Yeah.
I've seen him act in a bunch of stuff. He physically can do the role. He's fucking massive. And you all saw what Ben Affleck Batman looks like. You're going to have to find somebody who can surpass him size-wise. Yeah. Are you Batman? And justice. And he's big. He's a big guy. He's muscular. He can wear the armor, and you'd be like, holy crap. And I think Deathstroke is a good bad guy to fight Batman in a solo thing, because, Deathstroke can go toe-to-toe with Batman. Run Batman past what he can normally do. So, I'm excited to see that. There's still talk about the Black Lightning series from Berlanti. I think they had finally got, like, a pilot order. I don't know what network with, but it's, story-wise, he's already been Black Lightning. He's retired. Now his daughter got caught up in the gang and stuff. I don't know if there's going to be a connection, though, to the Arrowverse. Like, I don't know. It's Berlanti, so you assume, but I don't know. I don't know. If it's not, I will be like,
speaking of Arrow,
you failed this city.
I tell you what, though, like, here's my biggest hope for Black Lightning is if they do flashbacks of him, he'll be in the disco fucking awesome Black Lightning suit, and I'll be like, my pants.
I have hope for this, because Black Lightning,
I really do want to see it.
Black Lightning is a cool character. Black Lightning is, I feel like he was in the Justice League in a semi-prominent position for a while, and I thought it was like during that whole, like, Vixen and Red Arrow and Black Canary, I like to refer to them as the B+ team.
Yeah, they were the B+ team.
They were the awesome B+ team,
you
know? Because I think, to me, I think Black Lightning is a better choice for a Justice League than Cyborg.
I hate Cyborg so much.
I know you hate Cyborg so much.
Cyborg.
I know. But
just cannot give a shit about Cyborg. I'm sorry.
He's been trained. He is on par of a hand-to-hand combatant as Black Canary, Batman, guys like that. And it's not like he can just throw lightning bolts. He has a range of abilities that he can do with the lightning, and I think it would be an awesome character. So I'm excited to see what they do with him in a show format. So we'll see about that.
Yeah.
They showed some more clips of the Legion show that's coming out. I'm still very up in the air about this. I'm still very confused about what it is and where it takes place, and is it connected to the movies? Is it not? I
thought they already were doing a Legion show on Sci-Fi, the one that has the angels and shit. I thought that was connected to Legion.
No, that's connected to Legion, the thing. This Legion is X-Men, Xavier's son.
I could give a fuck less about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not one.
It looks interesting, but I'm still very much confused about it. So, seeing clips about it was cool. This is a rumor. This has not necessarily been confirmed, but they have said that they have cast the main villain for I believe the first season of the Punisher show, and it's going to be Ben Barnes. He was in the Westworld thing, and you know him as Prince Caspian from Narnia, or he was in this.
Look like a bitch? What?
As Caspian,
Narnia.
Narnia. But he was also the main character from The Seventh Son in that movie. It was awesome. Yeah. He, from what the rumors and what the scripts have been saying, will be playing Bobby Saint. This is interesting because Bobby Saint is not a comic book character. Bobby Saint was first introduced in the Thomas Jane 2004 Punisher as the
things to pull something from.
Was the a criminal prodigy to Howard Saint, which was the John Travolta character.
Yeah.
Bobby Saint was the son that died in the sting operation in the beginning of the movie, and his twin brother was the one who, was the stripper-loving sleazebag in the rest of the movie. Yeah. Both played by the same character. So that apparently is the character he's going to be playing in the beginning. So it kind of makes sense. He's a first-season bad guy. He's an up-and-coming bad guy. And they don't have to really dip into Punisher's very limited, rogues gallery of bad guys.
About limited is the fucks that I'm going to give about this show. I'll tell you that right now. Limited is generous. I'm not going to watch it, probably.
In the last news, I don't know. This is mixed because for some people, for most people, this is sad. For some people, maybe like myself, I don't really give a fuck. Alan Moore is basically all but confirmed that he's retiring.
I get I've loved Alan Moore's work.
I have too.
I think he's insanely talented. I also think that he is a bitchy artist.
I think he's become the crotchety old guy.
Yeah, he's a brilliant guy, but he's never really satisfied with anything.
He's got a little bit of whiff of his own, thing, and he's like, "Hey, I have opinions, and you need to all hear them."
And you know what? And maybe it's just because I think it's just one of those things. The only time I ever hear about him is when he's bitching about something.
Yeah. It's not how I would have done it. It's not how I did it, or something like that.
It's bro, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, right? And I get that, and it's sad to see that he's retiring because he does come up with such amazing stuff.
I mean, insanely talented. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like if comics have gotten you to that point where all you do is complain, then it probably is time to kind of take a break, retire, do whatever. Kind of go on to greener pastures where you can find my well of no fuss. Barren field. But yeah, so that's the news.
Good news, everyone.
Well, that was some damn good news.
Yes, it was. It's fucking fabulous.
You know what that means? It's time for Kickstarters of the Week. Don't have any wacky drops for that shit.
Yeah, I was like,
I've got a couple in here. A couple that we've talked about before, and then 2 new ones that I want to quickly mention. The first one is Never Beat the Devil and Never Bet the Devil. I'm sorry, and Other Warnings. It's a premium edition of Oren Gray's Never Bet the Devil and Other Warnings, horror fan kind of book. If you like Lovecraftman, you'll look like Barker, that sort of thing. It'd definitely be something you'd be into. It's some really interesting prize levels. Right now, there is 53 hours to go. And it is 74% funded, so it's really going to have to kick it in the last couple days here. Yeah. It's 74%, and 7,064 is what's been pledged so far. Yeah. And then we've got Asgard Chapter 1. Asgard's a mix of theology, mythology, and science, telling the story of human design and the creation of the universe. This was really fucking cool. The artwork was amazing. Yeah. It is 149% funded, so awesome. Yeah. They are fully funded and beyond.
Go you motherfuckers.
5,225 is the pledge amount, and it's got 66 hours to go, so if you want to get on that one, you got a few days left. Artemis Rising. This is kind of like a deeply personal kind of story that deals with some hard subjects in comics, like rape and things of that nature. It looks really interesting. There's some good artwork going along with it. It's got 4 days to go. It's 38% funded, so if you're interested, go ahead and do it now, because you don't have much time left to get them to where they need to be. Then we've got the Mythica virtual reality questing game that's based on the Mythica movies that Dave is a big fan of, and I enjoy myself.
I'm a big fan, but I'm going to go ahead and say right now they're 35% funded. They've got 8 days to go.
It's not going to happen, probably.
Barring a miracle. I'm hopeful. We'll always see what... because Mythica has done very well. That's the thing. But at the same time, this is very new technology. This is very, VR stuff. Is not only do you have to get the game, but you also have to get the stuff for the game, which is another investment. So
it was an ambitious project.
It was very ambitious, and I hope that it can come out in the end. But if not,
I hope they try again when the time is better.
Yeah,
And then the last 2, this one's from Source Point. Day 165, a Supernatural War comic from Travis McIntyre. Day 165 is a war comic that explores a series of unexplained events involving soldiers during their 156th day of service. I love Source Point Press. I love everything that they do. I'm a big supporter of theirs. Please check that out. It's 75% funded, and it's got 18 days to go, so they're well on track to fund.
What you don't see is Source Point's dick on Todd's shoulder.
No, I just really am a big fan.
I'm just kidding. No, they are. They do produce a lot of
really
cool
some exciting stuff going on. Yeah. They've got all these different. They've got what's the name of it? I had it on here before. They did the classic pulp one that was successful. They've done a lot of other successful ones.
Yeah,
they're doing the work with all these different movies and stuff now. They're getting movie properties. They're getting band properties. They're really coming up. They're one of the hottest indies on the market right now. Yeah. So
sellouts.
18 days to go. So please check that one out too. And then Masks #1 and 2 from Daniel Warner. This is a post-apocalyptic western with a supernatural twist that's inspired by Stephen King's Dark Tower. Now, the artwork alone on this is just absolutely gorgeous.
And if you love the Dark Tower, which I know tons of motherfuckers that do, then this is definitely something that I think you would enjoy.
It's the artwork is clean, and the concept is very interesting. I love post-apocalyptic. There's a lot of really good stuff going on in there. Tons of different levels that get you physical copies and digital stuff and artwork and all that stuff. It's really, really awesome looking. It's got 63 backers, 1,631 towards their 3,500 goal, and it's got 22 days to go, so there's plenty of time on this one, and it's well on its way. It's almost 50% funded now, and it just started less than a week ago.
Yeah, so definitely check it out.
Yep, they're definitely on their way, so everybody check out all those happy, friendly Kickstarters of the week.
All right, Dance Monkey.
Dance. Oh, is it shillin' time?
It's Dance Monkey time.
Shillin' time.
Good news, everyone.
It's time to shill. All right. Well, if you like what you heard today on the Basement Fodder Podcast, you can always find us at our network home of digitalnerdage.com. You can find us on our website of thebasementofdoom.wordpress.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and not Tumblr, because Tumblr is only for porn. Please check out last week's show where we talked about the Exotica Expo. Check me out this past week on the Digital Nerdage podcast, where I filled in for Pat, I'm sorry. And I talked again
learned your lesson.
mostly about the Exotica show.
Yeah.
If you hadn't had enough of that, please check out the mini-sode of the Todd Files that's out right now with Mary Mercenary Cosplay, where she talks about the Girls of the Finest campaign, which is a very worthy campaign to get in on, where they're doing a calendar for a charity that helps train service animals for servicemen. Which is
definitely a good thing.
My God, you can't get much better than that. So please check out all those things. If you're looking for us on Twitter, it's at Basement Fodder. Also on Instagram and Facebook, we've got Todd of Basement Fodder, Dave of Basement Fodder, the original Basement Babe, the Dead Mother of Doom, the Basement of Doom, all those things. And of course, Basement Fodder Podcast and the Todd Files. And pretty soon here, we'll be scheduling our next episode of It Came From the Queue, for those of you who are interested in that. And
Mike,
according to the numbers, everybody is interested in that. Yeah. So
I was going to say, you guys definitely seem to
God,
to
thank you
enjoy
guys
that
for
stuff.
all the support from It Came From the Queue. We're doing really well. I'm going to be setting up a page for it here soon.
Yeah.
And we'll get some information. We might put some movies out there just to see what people think about them and everything like that.
And again, we state, if you guys have any recommendations for movies or anything that you saw that you think, hey, it'd be cool, except for that fucking movie about the tire, I don't care. Dave will not watch this movie, just like he will not listen to your podcast.
That's right.
That's going to be my new show.
We get t-shirts made. Dave doesn't listen to your podcast.
Dave doesn't listen to your podcast.
But please check all that out. And of course, if you're in the market for custom action figures, you can always check me out at Titan Trap Custom on Twitter and on Facebook.
Yep. Oh, and if you guys are listening to this one, tell us what you guys think about the funsies, the noise, the drops and stuff. If too much, not enough. If it's too loud, not loud enough. Kind of give us a little bit of feedback. We're kind of testing these out and seeing, if they work or not. Do it.
I mean,
just do it.
You know what?
Just do it.
Here's the one thing I can say that will sum up all of that.
Rickroll, bitches!
Rickroll, bitch!
And we're out.
Yep, and that's going to wrap it up for this week. As always, from the Basement of Doom, I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And until next time, the basement door is closed.
Later, bitches.